That's
Oh, you know I'm gonna slide in.
is in.
Hashtag Fade to Black. I am your host, Donnell Lamonte Morris. I'm here with Beast Johnson, Mr. O, and a Seepway. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Well, first of all, welcome back to the shows.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So
And
today's
since we
show,
all
y'all
here,
already know.
hold on, I gotta do it real quick. Imani Wado.
Hey.
Hey.
We in here, y'all. We are in here.
Now we
Y'all
can
already
start.
know. Today's show is going to be for the culture, basically news and what's hot in the music and movie industry, which Beast Johnson will be taking the lead in. Beast Johnson, before we get into the opening statements, do you have anything to add before we get into it?
I want to take this moment, like Brother O before me, to illuminate a lot of unknown facts that artists themselves don't know, as well as the general audience doesn't know, that actually goes into making a single song, let alone getting it played on the radio.
Well, hey, but first,
This is about to be behind the music on this one right here.
oh boy. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. Mr. O, you're going to be leading us off because I know you're ready, down and willing. Let's do this.
I remember in the 60s when I was in the school, in the boarding house, we were all being moved by the spirit of Pan-Africanism in all the campuses and secondary school. There is one man that we repeated a lot what he told us, because the problem that is after the death of Martin Luther King, the discrimination against blacks in the US reflected into Africa, especially West Africa, especially English-speaking Africa. So we had one in Ghana, the principal of Achimota College, one of the most outstanding colleges in West Africa. He told us one thing. He said, man must be proud of his color. One who is not proud of his own color is not meant to live. That is the way he uses it. And ask blacks to be proud of their color. We must learn from others. Let us agree to disagree. But one thing that we must not disagree on is the defense of the dignity of the black man. That's my own opening statement.
Well, since I think we're going to be talking about music and culture tonight, my opening statement is asking the question, what is culture? What is the purpose of culture? And some of the elders taught me that traditionally, one of the functions of music and culture, or music and ritual performance, one of the functions was educational and for programming. And that the vibrations coming from the bass drum open up the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis of the reptilian brain. It was connected to all your body's vital functions. And that the heartbeat of the bass drum would have an effect on your nervous system. And that the lyrics that were sung, combined with the hormonal release that was going on in the brain, to change the condition of the body and to make it receptive based on these emotional vibrations for the information that you were receiving. And traditionally in our culture, we used it to memorize history and lineages, to contact our ancestors. And so this was one of the functions of music and culture. And if we look at music today, and if we understand its function in epigenetic programming, how it encodes our experiences, we have to ask the question, are we using music in the best way possible to elevate our status in the world and to teach the next generation its responsibilities for the collective benefit of all African people?
All right, all right, all right. Here's my opening statement. 2 weeks has already passed, and I'm here to say, I wish Teach was on the show. She's probably watching somewhere. I know she's going to be up in arms for what I'm about to say, and I will say, before I say it, I stuck to what I said, what I'm about to say. I know that sounds confusing. I apologize. I was in class all day. That Dr. Stella Immanuel is full of shit. Let me repeat that. Dr. Stella Immanuel is full of shit. So, I remember when I first brought this up on the show, I basically took the black hat off of Mr. O and I wore it. And I wore it proudly. So, Mr. O, give me that black hat because I'm wearing it now. Putting it on. So, I know everybody's going to come for me because y'all did come for me even when I made that, when I said what I said on that show. People was coming for me. And I was here for it. So, I did my thing called research because a lot of people don't want to do a thing called research. So, I did that. So, I did the research and let me pretend that I didn't say what I said. Let me go in with an open mind. Let me discover to see where Dr. Stella Immanuel, what she's all about. So here's what I did. These are the requirements that I did. This is my criteria. 1, I go in with open mind. 2, for the stance that you taking now, what was your stance before all this? Did you have a track record of doing the same thing? And then number 3, your profession. So let me go ahead and start there in reverse. So yes, she is a doctor. That I can say. Dr. Stella Immanuel is a licensed doctor. But that's where all the positivity ends. So I'm going to give you my sources. According to the Houston Chronicle, which is a local newspaper out there in Houston, she was sued in Louisiana because she started her practice in Louisiana, where she was sued for breaking a needle in a patient after they did meth. Think about that. She broke a needle in a patient after they did meth. The woman ended up dying. But before she was served those papers, she already fled to Houston. And y'all know, when a doctor kills a person, I won't say, I take that back. When a patient dies under a doctor's care, that has really serious implications. We talking jail time. We also talking the loss of license. But she ended up fleeing. Oh, let me take it back. Moving to Houston. where she started practice all over again. Oh, it keeps going. So you remember Snoops, my source for this one. Remember that group, America's Frontline Doctors, that support group? That group was created in July of this year. Was created. And it was funded by a right-wing group by TP Patriots, Tea Party Patriots Action. This is a political, take that back, conservative political organization. Now, going back to what Cheat said, I'm paraphrasing what she said. She said it shouldn't matter what platform she used. It's all in what she got to lose. To me, that's a, get out of jail free card. It all matters where you say your platform from. It matters. And who's funding it. It matters. It's like me coming from a Proud Boys meeting and I'm coming on this show and I'm sitting there saying Black Lives Matter. You're not going to tell me y'all ain't going to be questioning that? Y'all not going to be telling me, the Proud Boys they got some really racist ties, but you're going to the meeting and you saying Black Lives Matter and they don't agree with Black Lives Matter. You're not going to question me about it? So it goes back to that old saying, guilty by association. Now, I know y'all going to be like, well, Morris, she was telling, hydroxychloroquine, the studies, she said she cured all these folks and cured all these people and all that stuff and da 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 da. And I said on this show, you can go back to it. I did say, if she can come up with those stats, with the studies that she have cured all these people, I shut up. I will literally come on this show and say Dr. Estelle Manuel is correct, that she was right. But I'm sorry. That's like me saying I'm a millionaire. And all y'all gonna be like, prove it. Prove it. But I got nothing to prove to you. I can show you that nice Lambo and then you find out, oh snap, he renting that. Can he afford the rent? Oh, he got a nice house, but damn, he can't even afford it. You know how all these hip hop stars have all these cribs and come to find out they just written them out. It's not even theirs. Or a couple years later, they're gone because it's not theirs. You can sit there, you can say all these things, but you got to show proof. You got to. So I did say that. And we all thought, I even had one of the things, I was like, she probably going to be a martyr. She probably going to get funding. And then also, I forgot the third one. But I know the first two ones, a martyr and she going to get funding for her practice. Come to find out, she was getting funding and she still is. She actually went on the news and she backpedaled. I actually got the video saved and I will follow up in the middle of the show and give y'all that news report as she says, well, when they took hydroxychloroquine, it took days for them to get better. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not no cure. That's a treatment. And that's how I'm going to meet them in the middle of the road. Now, people can say, well, hydroxychloroquine, it helped me out. It's great. That's cool. That's fine. But it may work for you. But what about me? And for everybody else? This is why it's a thing called tests. This is a thing called trials that you're supposed to do before you let this drug out for this thing called COVID. This is why they do these testing. And I understand y'all saying that the government, y'all don't trust the government and all that stuff, which leads to this. Remember that press conference? Not only did that group funded the press conference, there was a congressman by the name of Ralph Norman. Ralph Norman also with Breitbart and with this group set up this meeting. If she had the proof that hydroxychloroquine was a cure, why she didn't tell the congressman, let me say that in front of Congress. Give me a hearing. Let me sit before Congress and tell them, hey, I got the stats right here. Stop lying to the people. When you have a Congress like me in the military, if I see something wrong, knock on wood, if I see something wrong in my unit, or if I see something wrong going on here, just like everybody else, I can send up a congressional. I can call my senator and be like, sir or ma'am, this is what's going on here. And they would jump on it. So why in the world Estela Emanuel didn't ask that congressman that? And know how much sway Republicans have, even though the freaking House is ran by Democrats? But the Senate is run by the Republicans. Mitch McConnell would jump at that. So that's why I say, and I'm going to continue to say, with my foot down, that Estela Emanuel's full of shit. I'm happy that Facebook took her stuff down. She deserves it. She put out false information. And not to mention, for y'all who sit there keep bitching about why Facebook take their stuff down and all this stuff, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram that's owned by Facebook is a privately owned company. They can do whatever they want. They do that to conservatives. They do that to liberals. They do it to black people. They do it to white people. They do it to everybody. So let's get that straight. But for them doing this, I applaud them. Because if you don't have the proof to back it up, just shut up. Because now you're playing with people's lives. And you got a history of malpractice. That's a big dent in your armor that you can't fix. And for people to still believe this woman without no facts, no truth, shame on you. So before you go jumping on the bandwagon, do like I did. Do your research with an open mind and see what this person is all about. Because just like I found, Estela Emanuel is not all in who y'all think she is. And with that, I yield the floor.
Well, thank God he did that, so I don't feel bad about my little rant that I'm about to go through. But I want to speak on another movement that is coming up that is just as important, and I see correlation with the Black Lives Matter, and that's the saving our children. I spoke about the whole consent of the issue of them trying to make pedophilia a sexual orientation. And I just saw a post about a Netflix movie that is basically Bring It On and Honey, but for middle schoolers, as far as the type of dancing that you would see. And the whole story is a little girl gets into a all-girl dance team and introduces twerking into the routines and becomes more suggestive in their style. And the cover art was what appeared to be preteen, say no more 11 to maybe 13-year-old girls. And what we know is twerk gear, knee pads and all. If I'm the only one that sees an issue with this, then I need to leave the fucking country. Because that's a goddamn shame that anybody would green light something like that. We need to save our children. As black people, we know what the fuck they do to our children. And they do our children the worst of anybody else. So when we say save our children, you know exactly what the fuck we mean, save our children. Because if we don't stand up and stand for ourselves so that we can be there for our children, then the whole world is going to shit. And it's going to be a global Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't mean to go that far, but to suggest that the age of consent for sex could be 4 years old and to say it with a straight face, there's no word that I could fathom to truly describe the level of disgust and anger that boils through me. And to just hear that immediately provokes me to murderous rage. Who the fuck thinks some shit like that? I know we all got our kinks. That's not a kink. When it comes to sex, sexuality is parallel to sensuality, no matter the level of depravity. And that sensuality can only be paralleled and connected with the sexuality when there are two or all consenting adults, because they have the mind as well as the emotions to understand and orchestrate and go through something like that and deal with the after effects. A 4-year-old can barely understand why they got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. And you want to give someone the consent to touch them in that manner? You're a fucking sick piece of shit. And I hope my soul is damned enough to greet you in hell so I can be the one to personally torture you for all eternity. That's how much I hate this subject. That's how much the thought of somebody actually trying to legalize that does to me. And if you agree with me, then you're not crazy, you're sane. Because to say that, excuse that in any light, to try to give it any type of validity, better off killing yourself. Please, people, as we strive for human rights, we need to include our children in the conversation as well. Because it's a lot of deviant things going on here, and they coming for the grown just like they're coming for the young. So we got to stand strong and stand by our morals and our laws. We can't let shit like this go. And if you feel that this is wrong, you got to be willing to physically do something about it. And if you hear it in my voice, you know I am more than willing to physically do something about it. So please, people, save our children, because Black Lives Matter. And until our children are safe and the Black lives are safe, all lives will not matter. And I yield the floor.
All right, before we damn, look how I got this whole thing started again. God damn it! But on that, that's on me. But before I continue, she's actually watched the show, and I put up the comments up there what she said in that last part, where she say that when I'm gonna put it up here so y'all can see. So before we can go on to you, B. Johnson, for the main part, Teach, I would say this. You know I love you to death, but when it deals with malpractice, 1, and the facts are not shown, 2, yes, I'm not going to trust you. And for me to get sick, I do a thing called follow what the CDC is saying. Wash your hands, face masks, social distancing, period. I'm just going to leave it at that. And I know she's probably going to come on the show on Friday. And guess what? I'm here for it. Still love you, Teach. But this woman here, no stats, no go in this station. But B. Johnson, You are up, my friend. Let's
All
go
right.
ahead and get started and go into some much nicer and brighter things.
Yes. So as we talk about music and current music scene, we need to talk about the content that is perpetuated out. Now, music, there's good music that's not getting put out, and that's due to politics. For example, I'll give you a general structure of how what you hear on the radio in your local area gets on the radio. For my local area, the head man, what he does is he calls on his homeboys in the major markets, and he asks them, what's the top 10 artists and tracks that's really bumping and really thumping in the streets? And he'll call all the major markets, all the well-known places, LA, Miami, Texas, Atlanta, New York. And then from there, he boils that down to all the names that are on everybody's list, and that's his top 10. And then he just plays that top 10 perpetually. And the local mindset is that if you hear it on the radio, that's what's bumping out there and everywhere else. So that structure gives him validity, but also perpetuates the ignorance. Because what you see now versus what the music of our ancestors and of our heritage, or like the soul music that Mr. O speaks so passionate about. That era of music was about experiencing the Black culture, knowing about the Black person. So you could be more honest because everything was new. But once they realized who we were in a marketable sense, then they started to dissect that and go for the energies and the genre and the topics that cater to what they're trying to move and what they're trying to do. So you see now we have an era of it's sonically good, meaning that the engineer and the producer did what they need to do to make that song sound the way it sounded. But the content of the artist is very lacking in a constant, consistent form now, because the general rule is, the vibe is you need to talk about selling drugs and an aggressive gang member mindset. You need to either refer to yourself or others around you as being willing or having already killed people. You must degrade women while feminizing yourself, as well as indulge in all substance of man-made fashion. Nothing spiritual. You're allowed to talk spiritual only when regarding something tragic. How the spirituality got you through this. But other than that, if you don't follow this prerequisite, you're not able to get to the masses. So you have to, as an artist, you have to actually sit back and really see what the industry is putting out and what the people are actually listening to and willing to receive, and find where your niche is. But understanding that once you get into the mainstream, you have to compensate as well as sacrifice things about yourself for the common good or the bottom dollar. So it's a lot of information that artists don't find out until they get in debt. And Like you see it from the greats, but it's more prevalent now. You spoke about it earlier down there. You got the rappers that got these big houses and chains and cars. All that stuff is either fake or rented. Any money you see in most of the videos is fake money. Most of their clothes is stylists. They were given to them. They don't really dress like that. They don't really carry themselves in that manner of life. A lot of them are very meek and timid individuals who are able to project that type of energy or type of perception and found profit in it, like Tekashi. But when life starts to imitate the art, they're not able to balance it because there's no life in their art. Their art is purely fictional. They try to portray it as life.
All right. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You got that question.
All right. So my question is: so let's say I'm an upcoming artist starting out.
Mm-hmm.
What is the first thing you would advise them? Like the first thing to do, like before you do step 2 and step 3.
Paperwork. Before you actually, you can go out here and write songs, do freestyles, get that leg work and prerequisite energy out. But your focus as an up-and-comer should always be paperwork. Who you sign with? How are you gonna get paid? That's the first thing I tell every artist that comes to me and says, I want to do this. Well, how are you trying to get paid? What are you really trying to do? Well, I'm trying to write. No. Are you actually trying to make the money or have the money made off of you? Because if you're just trying to make the money, if you're really trying to make your money, this is what you need to do. If you're trying to have money made off of you and just get your money, all right, I can get you in there real quick. This is what you're gonna have to do. You ain't gonna like it.
All right.
But first thing I tell everyone is understand the difference between ASCAP and BMI. Understand that dictates how you yourself would like to be paid. ASCAP is structured for composers, songwriters, actual musicians. Those who don't just want to get paid off of songs, but just off random melodies that can be used for jingles to background sounds for TV and movies. It encompasses that whole spectrum. So there's more viability, but there has to be more dedication in the artist if you're going for the ASCAP route. Now, just regular writers and entertainers and artists, they can go the BMI route. They both still pay you equal. It's just based off what you're trying to do yourself. And if you don't set that up first, yeah, you really ain't gonna be getting paid like you think you're getting paid.
Okay. All right. So, what is the biggest mistake nowadays that artists coming into the industry are making that they just continue to make, and nobody is taking these young grasshoppers and throwing them under their wing? Not put them, throw them under their wing.
Well, you do have some. You got some OGs out there. Like I just came to the knowledge of OG Records, which is I believe was Warren G, Snoop Dogg, and Too Short, and the whole structure was more mature, minded, educated, civil artists, people that had the talent, they had the drive, they had that marketable gift, but they were actually trying to promote some kind of message and lead people in some kind of positive direction. But the biggest mistake everybody makes, 360 deal.
Explain
360 deal is 360 deal is I go out here, I write the songs, I go into the studio that they pay for. Now listen to everything I say. I write the song. So I get 50% of the song as the songwriter, as well as the artist. Then I get another 50% as the artist. Now I go to record it at the studio that they provided, then finish it from an engineer that they provided. After the song is done, mixed and mastered, all that comes out of my pocket. That's first. Now the song is put into distribution. You have copies. Now, if you got a hot song, you might have a radio station on another coast say, hey, they really feeling this vibe, man. Yo, can you produce 50,000 units? That means they need 50,000 copies of that single or that project. That's coming out of your pocket. Now you're going on tour. You got to have your rider. That's the stuff you need to make you feel, comfortable while you're doing travel, out of your pocket. Everything encompasses the tour out of your pocket. Let's say you have a banger, 5-star classic, Grammy-nominated, Grammy Award-winning, multi-time album. It goes triple diamond. Your album to this date has made $90 billion. Before you see one fucking red cent of that money, everything I just said earlier has to get paid first, on top of your managers and their fees, off any expenses that incurred during, like, room and travel, gas, lodging, security fees. It's just a whole shitload of surcharges. Everyone else in the organization gets paid for your work, but you're the one that did all the lifting. You did all the heavy lifting. You went out there. You toured for 2 fucking years straight. And at the end of the day, you got maybe a third of that $90 billion that you made off that triple diamond album. I give the example of TLC, Fan Mail. They said it themselves. At the height of that whole album, they were legally, fiscally, financially broke. Broker than everybody on this panel at any given moment in our lives. But everybody in the world thought that they was just making money because everybody bumping that damn TLC album. No scrubs, all the women was killing that. You know they was getting paid. The album was bumping, the tour was bumping. You know they was getting paid. Them girls was broke because everybody else got paid. Even the dancers got paid before they got their checks. 360 deals are the dumbest thing, but it's also the smartest thing from the shady, shitty person's point of view. Like, if I was about that life, it's the greatest thing ever. If you're dumb enough to sign a 360 deal for me, I'm going to laugh in your face as you sign it. Like an evil, evil, evil villain from a Bond movie.
So, go ahead, B. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What about there was a story about Lil Wayne and Baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Baby was notorious. Baby stole everybody. Yeah.
What's your take on that? Because I think that leads into the modern day.
Surprised.
Most recent.
I wasn't surprised. Well, the thing people had to understand was about Baby. Baby was slick enough to get $100 million front. Let's think about that in dope perspective. That's like me that is literally what fucking Scarface did. There's no way. When Scarface went down there and talked to the head connect, and off of the strength of his mouth, got all them keys, no money up front. Now, you know he had to hustle his ass off to pay that money back. But just the simple fact that this man was that slick and that shrewd enough to talk to them white folk and get them to cut him $100 million check and clear it with no kind of real collateral up front off the strength of we got buzz, we got heat, we in the streets. You got to commend them for that. But on the other side, anybody slick enough to pull some shit off like that, I would not trust you at all. Because I know your mind is on that money before my money. And I can't blame you, but I know you're going to fuck me over every chance you get to make sure you get them folk off your back first and foremost. And you're going to live your life and make me fake it and make folk think I make it. But I ain't really getting paid. And that's what you saw with Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne kind of was doing it to his Young Money folk, but that's because it was a direct deal with Cash Money. So at the end of the day, Cash Money was still paying them. So it really wasn't his fault. It was just a kind of trickle down effect. And like you said, you see that now, where the shrewd thing that people are trying to do is get distribution deals. You want to go the Master P route and just not work for them, but work with them, link up with them. We just need your money in these specific avenues. And you try to keep that list short, preferably under 5 things monetarily that you actually need from them. Like, I just need the money to cover the worldwide promotion and just expenses on gas or whatever. You give them a number like that, bam. But you want to go with that road. You want to make sure that all your money is your money. No matter how successful it may turn out right then or later on, when the money is available to you, you are guaranteed it.
Gotcha. Any question from any of the other panelists?
Yes. Look.
Yes.
I think not really a question. I just observe that we Black people, by nature, we are musical. The way we sit, the way we move. When you see Blacks in the US, in the Caribbean, in South America, in Africa, what we have in common is the vibration from music. No other place in the world has you see a small child, a Black child, moving, it is music. But what you are possibly talking about is how to make money out of it.
Well,
the thing is that
what I'm speaking of is that the music itself is self-explanatory. Like
yes,
the art itself is self-explanatory in the sense that everyone's process, everyone's vantage point is different. To borrow from Donnell, we all on that same sheet, but everybody's coming from different arrangements. Everybody's doing multiple arrangements from different perspectives. So there may be one primary arrangement in a 4/4 count, E major, and you'll have artists and that energy fill in with there, but then there may be a C sharp arrangement as well. If you kind of understand, like, since everyone approaches it different, the music aspect of it is pinpoint to the artists themselves. The only real advice I could give on to up and coming artists on that aspect would be, concentrate on your writing and understand how to write from multiple perspectives, from that first, second, and third perspective. Go to evoke every emotion on the spectrum, even emotions that you're not personally attached to.
Yes, you see, the thing is that the musician, the creator of a music, that is only thing he knows how to do. But for it to get to the market, there are other people that have to add their own expertise so that the music can become marketable.
That's
And that
collaboration and networking.
yeah, and that costs a lot. Look at the parable of the sower. You sow the seed on top of a rock, birds ate it. You sowed it inside some sand ground, it could not grow. But when you sow it on a fertile soil, it grows. The fertile soil is who you meet to help exploit in the market. But everyone has to earn his own part. So people have to be educated. First of all, the creator needs to value his own work first. Look, the problem of adding value to one's work, I think, is one of the failure of us black people. Here, I have created technology. Even now, I'm still creating, but I have a problem that when I create a software for a company, just because I need the money urgently, I end almost giving it out free. That is a problem. Whereas the white folk, we have something bad in equality, but they create a kind of big publicity around it, and they make money from it. So maybe what we need is education on how to value what we have and to have enough patience until we hit the market that will give us enough income. But also, there is competition. We are not the only ones. There are many. Look, anywhere there's a black person, there is capacity to produce music.
I agree.
See,
I use the euphemism of drugs, since we have a drug culture. The music game is like the dope game. Everybody pushing the same dope. But what makes your dope better than his? What little extra additives? Like you got Quinine versus Baby Powder. What make your dope better than his? Like what's up? Like that's how you have to project your music. Well, kind of like hustle your music. So like when you out here, in the street life, you out here hustling, selling something illegal at any given moment, it could go faulty. That's really how it is pushing your music. You at any given moment, this thing could work for you. It could just get you by. It can keep you steady, or it can completely crumble.
Yes.
And that's kind of the thrill about it. Kind of give me a little kick about it too. I ain't gonna lie. But it's definitely. I agree with you 100%. I've taken that mentality myself. But it's all in how you relate the material to them. So as artists, I project it to them as the more skilled and the more knowledgeable you are yourself, the more money you can in turn expect to get, and the more money that you can expect to demand due to it. So like for me as an example, if I'm standing, if they give me a deal and I'm looking at it like, okay, well, they say they want to offer me a deal. I approach them like, well, what do you have to offer me? Because I have my own publishing, so that 50% that you would normally get automatically goes to me. So I get 100% of my songs. So that would basically mean you still have to give me my masters, because you have no way of truly controlling my music, because I own the publishing. And there's a song where I get the other half. So you might as well just give me my masters. So I'm also do my own graphic art. I'm also an actual musician. I play instruments as well. I also do podcasting. And then when it comes to, well, we can offer this, well, I have my own guild of talented artists and writers. I also have my own videographers. I have my own producers. I have my own engineers. I have several high quality studios that I've used and that you've listened to as a result. I have my own merch. I have several clothing lines that I either work with or own myself. So it's like, what are you offering me as far as the deal? And then they have to go back and give you a better number, a way better number, a number that includes money on the front and the back. So like, if you really want to, like Mr. O says, you got to be willing to take that time to cultivate and nurture your art. Get it to where when you bring it to the market, any and everybody is instantly susceptible and accessible to it. They instantly are intrigued and want to know more and are willing to invest and purchase. And you're willing to now flood the market as opposed to just going out there thinking that you have a skill to get into the market and realizing that the market is a lot more cutthroat than you realize. But taking the time to come in there fully skilled, fully knowledgeable, as well as with a viable, marketable product, then the market is in your hand and in your control.
Look, please allow me, this program, are you hearing me? Yeah, okay. This program really, for me, this channel is like a blessing. You have just woken up something in me. Look, my father was a pastor.
Yes.
My mother was a deaconess. Those two people were great poets. My father preached in our language in a small church. They had some songs which they created. So very gospel songs. And now, my brother and my sister did not care, but now with listening to you, what I will do is this. I will take some few months to begin to record all that I remember one by one. And then maybe we could do something with it. Look, they were powerful songs, sung in my language. But maybe with that knowledge, we can create something different. No, we still worried about it. Look, this program.
I don't believe we can. I know we can.
You see, this program has woken me up. I will now try every time, every parent here, I begin, even if the short portion, I begin to record it. After I make a good collection, then I will see how we can let you know little by little the translation and see how we can. No, I will let you see the instrument, the kind of thing we use in my tribe, and see how you can replicate it. And even I don't care, transmitting that knowledge also to the African Americans, and then together with my son here who likes music, and hit something strong. Because from it, English versions can come out. So I thank you for this explanation. I got the message. I will work on it.
CP Way, you, for your opening statement, I remember you mentioned something about what is culture. I want you to stretch upon that, like, because that was deep, to say true.
Well, first I want to say, obviously, Beast, I can tell you know about what you're talking about, this music industry and this business. So I'm listening and trying to learn and really see what kind of insight I can get from you, because I got to be honest with you, right? this whole conversation about the music is difficult for me because in a lot of ways I don't relate. Okay, and what I mean by that is, it's to me it's kind of like the music is kind of like food. It's nutrition. It's nutrition for your brain. It's nutrition for your spirit and your soul. And most of the music on the radio, I can't even listen to. I don't get anything.
You ain't the only one. You ain't the only one.
Yeah. So
like,
it's
the only reason I know of like the current culture, aside from just the fact that as an artist, I have to stay at least knowledgeable of the sounds and the vibes. I'm not one to ever ride a wave. I'm more of a person that will be in the sense of a kind of a trendsetter or a familiar, your favorite's favorite. I remind you of other artists that are substantial, you know, that type of vibe that is beyond the general shallow premise that you hear on the radio. Right? And I always explain to people the best generalization I can give for people when it comes to the music game, the industry aspect of it, the business side of it. And as an artist, you have to understand that you have to approach it to a certain extent if you're going for the mainstream. Now, if you just want to go out here like me, I'm not looking for mainstream. I'm an independent artist. I want to go out here and make my music because I know my music, the way it is, affects the masses. So I want to make that music and I want to put it out there and I want to tour the world off that. I'm not expecting the entire world to know me or love me. I just want my music to be able to reach the entire world. They don't necessarily have to know it's me. They can. I can get that. I'm comfortable with being remembered and revered years after I'm physically gone. That's the type of music I want to put out there. That's the energy and mindset I take as an artist with what I'm doing. I'm not looking for that quick game. I'm here for the long run. Like I'm here to be able to do this when I'm 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, 90 years old in a wheelchair. I'm still able to go out here on stage. Like, that's the music I want to do.
Well, I respect that. You had said something earlier. You were talking about how you have the refining process, right? The engineers and the people that can do the musical technicality to refine it, to put the high quality sonic product out there.
Yeah.
Now, I liken this to my profession. I have a business. I'm a health coach. Okay. And I come from a sports background. And so one of the ways I look at this is when I talk to people about their physical health, and we're talking about their nutrition, you have these high processed food that has no nutrition in it, which is causing
I was just about to use that earlier.
Which is causing people to become obese. The content or the nutritional quality of the food itself is creating a diseased condition in our people, even though we have a high-tech process for growing and refining the food. So in a similar fashion, that big music industry that you're talking about, and a lot of the music they're playing on the radio, which, to be honest with you, I don't even really know because I don't listen to none of that, is really
I listen to it and I ain't listening.
Yeah, it's really high-processed musical food that is creating a mental and spiritual obese condition in our people. And that
Yes.
I'm glad you said that because when you spoke on it earlier, I was thinking the same allegory myself. And you're completely right. And the reason why, it goes back to the point I was continuing from earlier. When going into the industry, how you project yourself mainstream, You want that. You want to be able to touch everybody around the world. You want notoriety. You want instantly anybody in any area of the nation to be able to either recognize your face or have heard your voice. So
And you
to
said
do that, to do that, you must present yourself in a fashion that gets everyone's attention instantly.
yes.
Now, what gets everybody's attention more than anything else? Negativity. The only way you could know what's good is by seeing bad.
And shock.
So, exactly, shock, and that's just a form of negativity. It basically, because it's done to get a knee-jerk reaction. It's not meant for longevity. Hey, so when you see it in pop a lot, they're marketed and molded to fit a certain image, a certain vibe. And that vibe is able to reach everybody. We all remember the Britney Spears introduction video. That image, that way she presented herself and the way they did that thing, that got everyone's attention. For a multitude of facet reasons, but it got everyone's attention. Old adage, all publicity is good publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity. When you start to, there's a difference between understanding these concepts and then embracing them. When you embrace them, you end up forming yourself to their fashion to get everyone's attention, and you go down this road of constantly one-upping yourself to keep yourself in their frontal consciousness. You don't want them back here. Good music is back here. Good music is all back here for rainy days and when you got things going on, because it just creeps up on you. Yes. And it makes you feel good about yourself. But all that bull, that stays up here for a while. That's all front, short term.
Yeah.
So you got to constantly stay in the short term, constantly keep staying in the short term. And you got to keep upping it and upping it, because if you started off as something as a gang member that was living this type of life, and then you escalated to you get shot, then escalated to you going to jail, then escalated to you getting shot again. Like, you got to keep upping the ante to keep them, for people to keep paying attention to you. You see celebrities, they are known for one thing, and then after they're no longer viable in that market, then the world starts knowing them in less favorable lights. You know, you start seeing drugs, violence, more unsavory acts and ways come about people. And a lot of them do it purposely just to stay in the scene or to be in the scene.
Well, my question for you is, I want to ask you, like, what possibility do you see, or what hope do you have for transforming the potential, harnessing the benefits of the music industry? And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. Because you were talking about the business part of it and the making money part of it, deciding what you want to do. And if we put this in the larger context of the fact that 75% of Black wealth is held by the top 10% of the Black community financially, meaning that it's mostly our celebrities, right? The athletes and the entertainers that have most of the Black wealth in America. Again, the top 10% of Black wealth, the 75% of Black wealth is held by the top 10% of Black people. So when it comes to the economic benefit and well-being of Black people in America and globally, right, because so much wealth is concentrated with the celebrities, not all of them, as you made the great point, because a number of them, they portray in a lifestyle they actually don't have the money. But those that do, because of this reality, we have to ask the question, what is their responsibility to the Black nation when a lot of the financial resources, right, are hoarded or concentrated amongst them. Do they have a responsibility to sacrifice the life of leisure and the big houses and the big cars? Like, how do they reconcile the fact that, the communities that are supporting and listening to their music, right, have no finances, have no wealth, and they're living this life of luxury? Is it right for us to demand from them that they have to become revolutionary heroes?
No,
They have
yeah,
go ahead.
You don't expect them to become revolutionary. You do expect them to at the very least, show some love to the area or the general people from their home. I agree, and to speak on artists and celebrities are doing. Slim Thug is a celebrity artist that has taken that route where he has invested a lot of his money into the community and bought the land that a lot of the projects in his area and state are on. He now owns the projects. So, and funny thing about the projects are actually 40 acres. The average project setup is 40 acres. So they gave us 40 acres. So he just bought them back.
Let me give you this example though. I worked with the Rastafari community for a long time in reggae artists. Now, I love reggae music, conscious reggae music. Pretty much the only thing on my playlist these days, except for I like some of my father's music. I like music like Fela Kuti, and I like some of that African music that is spiritual and conscious too. But with the reggae artists, there was a time when they were the promoters of Pan-Africanism and unity and directing everybody and making Africa a vibe, making it popular. And then you had this conscious reggae, coming out of the Toots and the Maytals and Peter Tosh and Bob Marley areas, and then eventually you had dancehall, and then you had this other stuff, and now you have reggae music has nothing to do with consciousness. But I remember at that time going to the conscious artists and trying to get them together, right, to form some kind of united front where they would use their position as singers and players of instruments to benefit, for example, the repatriation of the Rastafari community to places like Ethiopia and Ghana and South Africa, which they were talking about in their music. And it was like pulling teeth trying to get them to do that. And I had used even the example of when they had the Million Man March. In Farrakhan, at one point in the middle, he said, everybody reach in their pocket, pull out $1 and put it in this basket. And he collected $1 million in one day, just like that. And I was saying that, for example, there are X number of reggae concerts around the world every year that are already organized, planned. You don't have to do any work to set that up. And if every reggae artist would say, look, we have this, we're in a position, we can real economic benefit. What if they stop every single one of their concerts and said, look, if y'all love this music we singing about, if y'all love this, Africa, Mama Africa, all that stuff, reach in your pocket, take out $1, put it in this basket. You could generate tens and hundreds of dollars on an apparatus that's already in place and is already functioning, merely by them using their position and using their word sound power to call the people to do this $1. You bought a ticket for $10, $20, $30, $50. $1, put it in a basket. All of this goes into a collective fund to feed people, set up grocery stores, whatever it is you decide. What do you think, Beast, is the potential for getting the music industry, the ones that really have the money, to do those kinds of things collectively?
It's gonna take a benefit aside from and it's going to take a physical benefit, and it's one or the other. When you're looking to the already established, you have to wait till they get woke. Once they're woke, then they're able to, follow. But it takes time. When you speak about the artist that is it an artist obligation, I say it's an artist obligation depending on the type of content that they're promoting and propagating throughout. Example, Young Jeezy. Young Jeezy propagated and promoted Trap or Die. Trap or Die.
Mm-hmm. Most underrated mixtape in the South.
Yeah, but I personally witnessed a whole bunch of little young 14 to 17-year-old knuckleheads went around here trying to live that Trap or Die mentality life. A lot of them got jacked up as a result. Some of them ain't make it to this day. But years later, the same man that told your son to go out here and sell dope and flip a brick and do it for the city, secretly told his own son, fuck that street shit, take your ass to college. And that boy graduated with honors from USC. Now, and when you're doing shit like that, you're a fucking hypocrite. And I lose respect for you as an artist, and I can't listen to nothing that you really say because you ain't living that life. Because it's obvious you ain't living that life. Like, I can respect people like T.I. that say, I don't want you to do that, but I can't stop your hustle. And he don't promote selling drugs. He said, yeah, I sold dope and I will sell dope if necessary. But I got more than other hustles than just that. And I'm willing to hustle other stuff than just that. I ain't trying to just do that. So for his kids, they didn't hear that. Yeah, and for the other children in the nation, they ain't really hear it. It wasn't him saying, go out here and sell dope. It was, go out here and hustle your dream. Do what you got to do. If you got to sell that dope, but be smart about it. Get out as soon as you can. But hey, I was out here doing it. It was just a job. I was out here had my mama rent. Did what I had to do. But I ain't doing it no more. Moving forward. You can respect that type of artist. Because they're promoting something that they actually live in. So if you see them in real life or hear stories about them in real life, it matches the vibe that you're getting from the music.
Let me go ahead and step into it. I'm gonna combine all the things that I heard from everybody into this question. Mm-hmm. Do you think artists nowadays are doing it actually for the culture, for the love of the music, or is just for the money, the glitz, the glamour, and the fame?
The glitz, the glamour, and the fame. It's in their names. Like let's keep it a band now. Before, you could be on some hustle stuff but have a slick name that was like, yeah, it was a rapper name. But now these little boys, you know where their mind is at. Like YBN stands for Young Broke Nigga. NBA, Never Broke Again. So any name you hear after that, knowing what those three letters mean, automatically let you know this boy don't give a damn about the culture. This boy trying to get paid.
You see, I think what I think is missing. There is need for strategists, experts in marketing. They are the one that can look for a special market for special music.
Well, no, because there's markets. There's markets everywhere.
But you see,
psychologically speaking, yeah, even in hip hop, like myself, my actual market is adult contemporary hip hop. I'm not the hip hop that you hear on the radio, but I'm the hip hop that reminds you of the hip hop you heard on the radio growing up. I'm older. I'm talking about stuff that you can relate to, stuff that I'm actually going through, as an adult. Yes, I have that experience and knowledge of the street life and the young man's life. Yes, I did that as a young man, so I can speak on it. Well, because I'm older, I can speak on it from an educated, more emotionally stable place. So that we're talking about the marketing, the marketing it to add the overall thing that needs to happen is,
and I could get money from
that
it.
is no. In order to project your will upon, and in order for us to truly get our message out here, we have to do the devil's deal. And the devil's deal is what they give you, which it sounds good, it looks good, but there's a more deeper, subconscious, cerebral plot going on here.
Because they want to pay you less and make more money on you.
Exactly. So what we have to do is we have to flip that deal. So how I take the deal is, my name is Beast Johnson. I'm a 6 foot, 250 pound, dark skinned black man with beard and dreads.
Yeah.
Off the strength of my look and that name, you instantly see aggression, gritty, urban thug life, possibly gangster, trapper. I use that to my advantage. I approach the music and I purposely take certain rhythms and certain sonic structures that will appeal those type of masses, or the type of masses that they're propagating now, and I give them that type of beat. I give them that type of vibe in my voice, in my delivery, how I project it. But my wordplay, what I'm actually saying, is something that's meant to provoke, to get a spark, to wake you up. But it's projected and presented in a manner that's catchy, vibrant, musical, almost hypnotic. It gets in your head, and after a while, you'll start to really think about what I'm saying. And you'll start to realize the deeper meaning behind the lyrics, and your mind starts to expand. And new conscious thought is able to be received upon you, only making you want to go get my music even more to get further woke. So if I'm out here promoting that Black Lives Matter, but I'm promoting the Black Lives Matter in a manner that the white folk that's paying me and allowing me to go out here and do this, they're not realizing what it is. Even when they read the lyrics, they're not really seeing what I'm promoting. It's only upon listening to it the way I constructed it that the true message is received and the true message is implanted. That's the devil's deal. I'm giving them what they want, what they think they want. They think they want that hood gangster, yeah. I came from the hood and I know what's good, and they're smoking on the woods, that type of stuff. No, but the wordplay is actually conscious. It's lyrical. It's literal. It's meant to incite that spark of intelligence within your brain. You're meant to go back and listen to it again, just to figure out, he really said all that? Wow. Go back and listen to what he said. Damn, I didn't know you could rhyme those type of words. What that word mean? So you mean when he said this word, he was really saying, damn, yo, that's crazy. And then you start using the word themselves because they heard it in the song. Like instead of a dude saying, I shit on him, it starts saying defecate. Why? Because I said the word defecate. And I use it in a manner to illustrate that defecate is the same word as shit or poop. So now he's like, oh, now his mind is bigger. No, his mind is expanded. That's what we have to do as artists. We have to use our words. We have to use our energies to steer them in the right direction. Even though we know it's other people behind us or in front of us that may have more pull, but we can still get the trajectory and kind of throw a dip in and there where we need to. We're still the main ones controlling this, and we have to remind ourselves of that constantly.
All right, we're gonna take a little break. So We got a network that's coming up soon, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to shoot that off real quick. And we're going to be right back with some more Beast Johnson. We're back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off with this question because it's been kicking my ass. What will it take? Let me put the camera on me. What would it take for us to own everything of the record label? I understand. I know y'all all not living under a rock. I know everybody been watching the BET special on the No Limit record label, but he didn't own everything like distribution and stuff like a Sony will. What will it take for a label to actually own everything from the inside out to its operations on paying for tours to making the albums to push it out on downloads and just basically undercutting the middleman that goes to the fan?
I go back before to educate yourself. Since you talk about downloading the streams, there are once your paperwork is established, once you are established between either ASCAP or BMI, once you have got that set up, and then you are able to, you want to set up a distribution setup. Now everything's digital, and you can do most things independent. And I always tell you, go independent. Independent says you get the bulk, if not 100%. Because you're the one controlling everything. So all independent labels are 100%. And it's only when you start assimilating other smaller entities that you become a corporate entity like Sony or Interscope. Like, cause that's all they really did. They just say, hey, you link up with us and you get bigger distribution and you get a bigger access to groups and talent. That's all they say. Okay, guessing they'll pop up under there. That's all they were really doing. If you, like you said, we ourselves have to remember that the more knowledge that we know, the more money we can assure.
Okay, so I got to challenge you to dig deeper on this question because you started off the bat by saying ASCAP.
ASCAP. Yes.
Okay, who started that?
No, ASCAP is set up by songwriters and composers, mainly classical and commercial composers and songwriters. They set that up as a way to ensure that it is set up as pretty much an agency. Any music you do that is projected worldwide in any concept, they are able to track it, label it, give you a tracking code. And then from there, all other entities that are associated with the music tracking statistics like Billboard and data, they can actually go from there and show you.
Right, now that's my question.
Playing it. Yeah.
That's my question. Who set that up? Who owns and controls that? Is that us or is that somebody else? You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the things I always go with being knowledgeable. The more knowledge that we know, the better we can set ourselves up for it. Like the way I set up my publishing, I started my own publishing company because I saw how it was structured, and I saw that the publishers are usually the label. Your publishing company. From whom did you get your licensing and file it to make it legal and credible?
I filed it through LegalZoom.
Okay, what I'm saying is you did it in the jurisdiction and you don't control.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, and I'm feeling that's the long game. I would love for us to be able to do it just street level.
This question is, it's going to require a black nation that we control with well, for example, even the money you're talking about making is not our own currency, it's their currency. So when you're trying to become, what I'm really challenging us to think about is the reason why we have to spend our political energies in establishing, one, Black nationalism, and two, a powerful Pan-African network, which the Black nation can function within in the global context, because as long as we're functioning under a global trade network in which the system of white supremacy is still supreme, it doesn't matter if you set up your business or your corporation and it's being set, because they can always change the apparatus, the jurisdiction, the framework from which you're operating, because they control that. So the real ultimate deep long-term answer to that is in order for us to have control over our music industry product, all of that culture and all of that business exists within a society that functions according to a government. And if we don't have that, we're not going to be able to say that we control our own stuff.
I agree, especially when you put it in that context and spread it out like that. I agree completely. You're right. The only thing I can truly suggest is we got to bring Wakanda to reality. Like we have to find some way to collectively. I mean, at this point, we have to collectively agree to just go dark in order to show that strength and unity, and use that as the initial bargaining tool for negotiations. While going dark, we need to cultivate a extremely viable, either bartered-like currency. Because barter is developing your own currency, but until that is deemed necessary or viable, you want to go for the barter system. So it has to be something that is truly equal to monetary value, some kind of resource. And we have to collect that and unify that resource in order to use that as the tool. You know, I kind of reminded of the Black Men United of the 90s from Jason's lyrics. That was a very powerful moment, because that was an immense amount of Black male artists who are all business-wise competing with each other, but they were able to unify for that common goal. And even as singers, we're all competitive. You know, we don't want to let nobody truly outshine us on the track. Not gonna happen. Especially if you know you can sing and you got the pipes, you really ain't trying to let nobody else outdo you. But that showed many talented brothers coming together, all singing together. Everyone got their chance to quote unquote shine, but nobody outdid each other. And I wish we could have kept that mentality. And I will hope that anybody listening, uses that as a reference to move forward, because I feel like that could be the kind of structure we need to take that as an example of how we need to be unified. Everybody need to come together, knowing that the end result is going to allow everybody to prosper and shine. You gonna get your moment. You gonna get your moment. Everybody gonna get their PT. Everybody for the sports, you gonna get your time on the field. You gonna get to touch the ball. They gonna see you, but it's not just about you. As long as you understand that, you'll get that shine, and the greater good will be achieved. We first gotta get that mentality back and keep it, and really build and cultivate from it. while going dark. And if we can achieve that, then we can really move forward to what you're saying, being able to work within that government while not having to truly conform to them. But I do agree, even though I did the publishing because that was the quickest way I knew that I could ensure the most of my money, or at least like me. If it sells, I'm guaranteed the bulk of it. I'm guaranteed to get paid as much as I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
If the track is worth $100 million, then I want that $100 million.
Morris, the way he posed the question was actually begged a lot of questions. He asked the question, are they doing it for the money or are they doing it for the culture? Now, on the one hand, right, if they're doing it for the money, then the question is, well, whose money, right? And again, if our mentality is that power comes from money, we're going to seek the money. But if we can break that mentality and understand, right, power doesn't come from money. Money is an aspect of those people that have power. Then, instead of are they doing it for the money, we want to get them, are you doing it for the power? Are you trying to make music so that we can have the power? Then when Morris asked the question about, well, are they doing it for the culture? Then the question is, well, for who? Which culture? There's no one monolithic Black culture, just like there's no one monolithic African culture, right? You got thug culture, you got gangster culture, you got hip hop culture, you got OG culture, you got, bourgeois, talented
conscious culture.
Yeah, there's all these things. So you have to have to be Black nationalist, Pan-Africanist, conscious culture, because I would suggest they are doing it for the culture that they love, which is this new millennial, I don't even know what they call it. I wouldn't even know if it's gangster or thug anymore. It seemed to be something else because they don't even seem tough anymore. They seem more feminine. So I don't know what the name is, but they're doing it because they're participating in that culture. So they're doing it for that culture and to get paid. So it's a lot of, it just begged the question. I try to always provoke this idea that the solutions to our problem, we got to get out from under the jurisdiction of white supremacy. All white supremacy means is that at the end of the day, who has the authority? Who has the final say? There is a conflict of wills. Say the white person, the white will and the Black will. Who's got enough power to enforce their will over the other? Right now, even if you're a successful business owner or entrepreneur, you start your own publishing, have your own wellness coaching like I have. At the end of the day, I got to go to who to get the legitimacy, to get the business license. Whose currency do I? At the end of the day, the ultimate power that sanctions what I do is still the white person, the system of white supremacy. Not that they hate us. They will allow us to do whatever we want to do so long as, at the end of the day, they have calculated that it will benefit them. That's what we got to do.
All right, so let me interject real quick. And that's why I asked a question like that. And this is why I have a panel. And this is why we have you on the show. This is why. So you can break it down. To tell you the truth, I'm happy that you broke it down like that, because a lot of people would just be like, yeah, they doing it for the culture, or like, shit, I just don't want to be broke no more. So I'm happy that you broke it down, not only just to me, but to the panel and also to the people out there who's probably is trying to start their business. And you bring up a real big point, which actually why I asked the question like that was that it always goes back to shit. Like, people don't want to.
You good? Donnell?
Well, Morris was about to say something, and the powers that be.
Yeah, he froze. That was weird. My dog barked and it just froze.
Yep, it just froze.
To answer the question about the culture, a better question I've asked artists coming in is, are you doing this for the music, or are you doing this for your brand?
Yep.
Because if you're doing it for the music, then you're going to force yourself to speak on a variety of things. You're going to force yourself to step out of your comfort zone and talk about things and work with folk that you normally wouldn't work with, and do music that you yourself might have listened to or never would listen to and end up doing.
In your estimation,
So when you're doing it for the brand, though, you're doing it for the money. You basically doing it for the money and promoting a culture.
In your estimation, what percentage do you think is doing it for the brand versus doing it for the other thing?
Anybody that's my estimation usually is always anybody that I see up front that I see them like pushing heavy, that's for the brand. Like it goes back to the whole titling. Like I say, with the whole YBN, the NBA, your brand is all about trying to get money and stay with a lot of money. Not necessarily get wealthy, but just get rich, get money. Always get money. Always, however you need to get money, get money. So it's definitely a larger percentage of the people, because the music industry is a stepping stone. It is a facet of the entertainment industry. So those that want to be entertainers will often use music as a gateway in. If they can hold a pitch, or they can at least do a simple 4 count, and they're visually appealing enough, then they can do music until somebody sees them and says, "Hey, would you like to try to act?" And that really may be what they really want to do. I use Nicki Minaj, for example. She always said she wanted to act. It was never about being a rapper, but she used the rap and used the music of hip hop to get notable, then notarized, then famous. And then she was on the platform where she was accessible to do movie roles, no matter how small or big, because that was her true goal. And it was just merely a stepping stone along the way. And you see that more prevalent now, and because people saw that and she was so honest about it and it worked in her favor, then visually on the outside looking in, she got what she wanted. So I should do the same thing, or I can do the same thing.
I'm back, y'all. I'm back. I said some real shit. I'm about to say something real, and it was like, let's cut them off, okay? Because I'm actually in my room. It's not like I was at my girlfriend's house or anything like where the internet was going in and out. I had an excuse for that one, but this one right here, I would say it's real stuff. So I'm just going to quicken up what I was trying to say. So basically, what was said and my take was, we don't want to pay taxes, but we got to. We got to pay income tax, unless we're going to get that knock on the door from police, IRS, and whoever, or when we make that $10 million. Oh, sir, you did pay your taxes from this point to this point. We're going to need that $10 back. So I understand what you're saying. Need to just be like, you know what?
They really
messing with. Oh, I must be dropping too much knowledge out here. I must be talking too much. I'm feeling like Dick Gregory and Dr. Sebi right now. I'm gonna keep talking.
He's making the great point, which is,
what happened to his bandwidth?
Oh no, because they messing with him. That's we dropping too much knowledge, and everything's running from his side. So if they mess up his side, they think they're gonna shut me up. But obviously, I'm still talking, baby.
Are they jamming the program?
Oh no, they just see, like I just said, but Mr. O, since he's controlling, he's the server, so to speak. So if they mess with the server, they feel like they can control the whole live, the whole feed. But my feed is still running, so I'm gonna keep dropping this knowledge and educate these folks and waking them up.
Yeah, because maybe they are maybe we are troubling them. So, but they know that our opinion here is very spread. It's not one-sided. I mean, they should not feel threatened. We have opinion both in the left, in the south, in the center, and in the right. So we are very diverse in our opinion and in our perspective. We mean harm to no one. So I don't know why. I think why it seems they are jamming him because this is new.
Professor O, you're African. You're African too. It's a vibe. Is a spirit. When you start coming with something real heavy, it's a spirit one way or another. It can be overt or covert.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Taxes. That's all I'm gonna say. Taxes. And y'all know exactly.
I'm getting out my system, damn it.
Taxes. Damn.
I mean, I agree. I mean, like I said, the best explanation I give as of right now, other than we need to do just go dark and do a full reset, is like I say, the more knowledgeable you are in your craft and everything associated with your craft. Like as a musician myself, in my process to get to this point, I had to learn how to not just be an artist, but be a performer and an entertainer. I had to learn how to be an MC host
and a producer.
To be able, yes, I had to learn. I had to be at least be knowledgeable of how to produce a beat or what goes behind the production. I had to be knowledgeable of the engineering aspects, the lingo that goes into it, knowing how to tell them, hey, on this song, I'm only going to do 4 vocal tracks. On the hook, I'm going to do 2 punch ins. I'm going to time you in on this part, and then I'm going to come back and add my ad libs. That's lingo that they understand, but the average artist don't know going into that process. They don't know. Being able to translate the information and not just being able to do, the more you can do yourself, the more you're guaranteed. Like T-Pain is an individual. I found out that when it comes to his videos, every video that anyone's ever saw from him was edited by him. And he had the final say on the editing. So he made sure his video looked the way he needed to look. He went and found the editing software, learned how to use it. And then any damn videographer or director that shot him material, they had to send it back to him, and he did what he needed to do. And if he touched it up, he touched it up. But he ran through that thing before anybody else saw it.
You see,
just that type of knowledge ensured that he made his, he get the money. He's able to put himself in a position of power.
You see, Bass Johnson, look, it is a field. And what do we do in the field? We play. It's a game. You have to play it with them. You see, don't they walk over the head of many people. Those who made it high, they did not do it as saints. They walk over the head. They are mafia. They walk over the head. Look, I was lecturing my students last month about the game in capitalism. And I gave them an example. 2 convicts were being tried. Then they separate them so that no one will communicate with each other. Then they told each of them, if you confess, if one confesses, he goes free and the other is jailed 20 years. If 2 of them confesses, they will each get 10 years. See? And then they wait for who fails. It's a game.
It is.
Each of them.
That's why I go back to the reference of the devil's deal. You
Yes.
you gotta play them. And this is
just-
how you play them. Like,
you
you gotta make them think like I said, me. Like I say, I use myself as an example. The way I look when I go out and perform songs, most people don't expect to see that from me.
No.
And
But
then
go into the battlefield and play the game with them.
that's what I'm saying. I play that game with them.
But I don't know whether you got
I use their expectations and their perceived consciousness.
No,
against
you don't
them.
get me. You don't get me. That is not the only thing they do. They do many things behind. You need to see what they do behind.
Yes. That's what I mean by that. Since you're talking about behind, you're talking about the behind the scenes work. I'll give you an example of that. When you're talking about behind the scenes, there's a word perpetuity. Anybody know the word perpetuity means?
I heard.
I know. I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Look,
but the way perpetuity is implied in the music game, like for example with American Idol, X Factor, those type of singing competition shows, they're used as a platform for up and coming artists and musicians to get their music out there and showcase their talent. And a lot of musicians will go out there and play original works that truly showcase their voice and their talent. But what they don't tell them when they sign the contract is that little word perpetuity. And perpetuity basically means that we own this even after everybody in your family has been dead for centuries. If we're still kicking and this is still viable, we can use it no matter what it is, no matter how it was painted, what context it was used, we own that. And they use that for those gag reels of people to come out there and pretty much embarrass themselves. And these people don't understand that footage is used forever. They could go back years after they're dead and bring that back up and paint them in that sad light.
Look,
and they have that legal right.
I have a question for
you. Yeah, I understand, but still, what you explain is still for the innocents. You need to exploit what the mafia they have behind. That is what white people do. I live in a white country. These people,
and that's what I'm explaining. That's what I'm explaining. The average black person doesn't understand. I call it legalese. There's legal words. That's why I've always expressed people, you got to understand and educate yourself. Know these words. Know words that you want to use in your music. And by learning that, you need to learn the same words that these people are using when they're around you, like words like 360 deal, perpetuity. These are shady, malicious things that sound they sound okay, but they're really shitty as hell. You got to learn how they put these words together to infer and take away your rights.
Wait, look, let me give you a little bit of clearance. Look, you need to go to the inner temple. They have inner temple.
Now, you speaking from a spiritual standpoint when it comes to the industry, the cult-like thing?
It's no. That's why I say mafia. They have where they sit their deals, not the face they show to you. You don't need to not cult. These are brain working together. They block one to open up another.
So you're speaking of the inner circle.
That is how people like Frank Sinatra got up. Frank Sinatra got up over the head of many people. We blacks.
What were you about to say? I'm sorry, I meant to interrupt you.
You had a question too. No, you had a question too.
Yes.
We blacks have to know how to work our own.
Okay. What was your question, Seaway?
I agree with what Professor just said. We have to understand how to work our own. But earlier, Professor O, you said you have to play the game. You have to play the game with
Yeah, it's a
them.
game. Yeah, it's a part of it. It's
Now,
outlook. It is the fast get more. You know, we can't play the innocent. It's a war.
And
We
that's
have
why I
to
say educate yourself. You speak of the game. The game has many facets to it. The
yes,
way
yes,
that
that's
they
why
approach
we have
people,
to
they
know
approach
yes.
people from a myriad of different places and a myriad of different ways, even in the innocent route.
You win or lose,
Okay.
or you win or you win
Okay.
a bit, or both of you win, or you go for all.
All right, go ahead, CP.
yeah, I'm still trying to give this to Professor O. Right. So when you say play the game, and when we speak in that, use that language like the game, we kind of assume that everybody understands and accepts and understands the meaning of what we mean by the game. But if we were to label or give a name to that game, I'm suggesting that the game, the highest game that we're talking about is, again, the game called the system of global white supremacy. And my question for Professor O is, do you feel that we have to just resign ourselves to
No. No, not resign. No, I said go into the system. You boggle into
Infiltrate.
it. Yes, boggle into it. Smile with them, eat with them, drink with them, see what they do.
Okay.
That is the way. You
I
have to
agree.
penetrate it.
I agree with you. The question I was trying to get at is, do you think that it's possible that at some point the game will no longer be the game of global white supremacy in the same way as the global game of white supremacy didn't exist prior to 1442?
Listen, football was invented by the white supremacists, and now black people are shining in England. They got into the field.
Okay, but
they
again,
goals. They made
But
goals.
going back to what Mr. Seaway was saying, they're shining in a country that owns all of their heritage. How will you really? Okay, a better analogy. How am I shining being the smartest person on the short bus?
Look. Or being the biggest fish in a small pond.
The biggest fish in a small pond. Like, how is that an accomplishment?
Don't underestimate yourself. I say going in.
Now, I can understand the Africans, how they did it, but the British Africans, I can't see that connection.
Victory is not for cowards. You win or lose, but go in.
I agree with Professor O. What he's saying right now, right? Meaning, right? If you're in a war, you have to have infiltrators. You have to have spies. You have to spill blood.
Special ops.
Right. So I'm going to Professor O on that side.
Get some. Those people have weak points. Those people have weak points. Look for it.
Yes, agreed. And so my question to you is, what do you foresee? Because from what I'm hearing is you want to go in to gain the capacity, right, so that you can actually defeat them. I don't think you're saying that we're going to just have to learn how to coexist with this oppressive force that currently has more power than us.
Don't use those words. Those words are defeatist. There's nothing like oppressive. Look, it's a danger in front. Defeat it.
No, I'm not a defeatist at all. Then you're misunderstanding me.
Don't say oppressive force. A force is a force. Forget it whether it's oppressive or not. You want to be victorious? Go in.
Yes, oppressive just means that it is opposite to your momentum. That's all.
That I know as an applied scientist, but we are talking about a system that controls everything. You have to infiltrate it.
And I think that's what CP. But that's what CP Way is trying to say. He's saying he agrees with you. He's saying exactly what you're saying. But he's saying, but he's saying is, but what he's saying is,
for what purpose? To just be good within the system, or to destroy?
Not good, not necessarily good. You look for the weak point, and you go in and you sit down with them.
But I think he's saying, but he's saying, I'm sorry, I keep messing up the name. I'm sorry, because I'm trying not to get taken off again. So I'm trying to, because we coming to the end. We already at the end of the show. We basically a little bit of overtime, but this is a good conversation. I don't want to end this great conversation that we have. So I see exactly what you're saying. I agree with both of y'all. And Mr. O, you're correct. Just like with anything, we gotta go in. You gotta infiltrate. Like in the military, we got put in our special ops. That's why the special forces and the SEAL and the SEALs team goes in first. They do their recon. They say, okay, the enemy's position is right here. Blah 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 blah. Then they come back, and then the big boys. Then we come in, and then we handle our business. But what CP Way is talking about is we just can't go up in there half cocked. We need to know what we're facing, and that's what he's saying about white supremacy. Because us going into this fight, we're dealing with white supremacy.
No, look,
that's basically what he's trying to say. That's basically what he's saying. You gotta know who your enemy is.
No,
you gotta know who you're fighting. It's like us going into Iraq and saying kill all the Iraqi people, which that is not.
We see things from different perspectives. I don't see any damn.
I understand what you're saying, Mr.
None of them is superior to me. None of them superior to me.
I think what you're saying.
Man. No, see, I didn't say no. When we say the word supremacy, we're not saying that they are inherently better or more capable. Supremacy.
That's the setup that they
means that at the end of the power chain, the person that has the dominant power to make the final decision currently in the world right now are the white supremacists. If you want to sail on the sea, whose maritime law do you have to sail under? If you want to buy oil in the market,
I don't believe in the so-called white supremacists. No.
What's that?
I don't believe. Look, that because it's frightening. Remove that fright. I said
well, sir, Mr. O, in order for you to destroy that tribe, he's talking about physically, historically, paperwork-wise, every law that's been made in history and put into effect in history has been made, written, and put into effect by whites, thus giving them a supreme favor in the power dynamic. Now, we're not talking about lawyers. We're not. No, sir. We're talking about
historically.
We're talking about from the start up till now. Now we're talking about the whole scheme. So yes, you are right. There have been black law. There have been other races that have put in law. But when you look at the numbers and you balance it out on the scale, you look at the pie chart, whites have a bigger chunk.
I know that. I understand.
But now, that's the point that you made earlier. Now, the point that you made earlier about infiltrators was we were not going in half cocked. You're both right. But that takes tacticians, because a tactician is able to understand everything from everyone's point of view. The tactician is the one to say, hey, when we send in the Navy, we're going to send them in this form and in this fashion in order to be able to efficiently get the information we need. At the same time, we're going to set up the Army in sections here, here, and here. We're going to start dropping them in with this amount of leeway between the time we initially get the Navy in versus the time when they're going to be dropped in. That takes tactics, and that takes a tactician to be able to step out on the back and say, this is how we're going to do it. When we do it. As we're doing it needs to happen in this fashion.
And to add on to what Beast Johnson was saying which goes back to CP Way's point. we got to know who the enemy is. We got to know what we're getting ourselves into. We got to know
that can't happen from infiltrating. That can't happen from infiltrating. But the only way to properly infiltrate is to have a tactician that can study and say, hey, to find the access to these proper weak points, we need to approach it from these vantage points.
Right. We got to know the enemy inside and out. When do they go out on guard? When do they, train? When are they not?
What's the delay between shifts? What's the delay between lights?
Where they play golf. They look, that's it. But remember, as you infiltrate them, they will be following the smoke. So you must get your back well prepared.
Okay.
You infiltrate them.
The tactics.
So in game, there are two words, two key words in games that I told my students. One is called strategy, and the other is decision. Those are the two things you must have in mind as you fight on. A strategy which has to be dynamic. Dynamic means it can change with time.
Yes, agreed.
So that is the way so I say damn the word white or black or red or green. That is sentimental.
It is white supremacy.
That is a sentimental word. Forget it. It doesn't exist. Go to war.
What are we fighting?
You gotta understand what he's saying. I use the same logic when I talk to women, because I say I have a T-shirt that says I have the dick, so I make the rules. And when we get offended, it's like that's sexist. I was like, no, ma'am. Go back and look at history. The vast majority of every historical law put into effect, conceived, written, and brought to be put in law has been presented by a man. Now, women had a lot of influence in a lot of them laws, and they might have been the catalyst to a lot of them laws, but they didn't sign the paperwork. So Dick run the world.
But they did go pay us more.
I don't want to put a
Like as far as the paperwork goes, Dick run the world.
Yes,
if you don't like the word,
so that's what he's saying.
I will remove that. I'm just asking him, identify for us then, if we're not going to use that term, who are we fighting against?
No,
and how do we refer to them?
And see, and that's why I was with you with
that's a better question. That's a good question, Sweetway. If there is no white supremacy, who are we fighting against?
It's going into war blind.
Do not put color. There are some people there who want to carry it all.
Just answer.
Yeah, we're agreeing with you, but we're asking.
Even if they are 100% white, don't look at them as white. Look at them as people who want to penetrate.
You answer the question. Who or what are we fighting against?
We fighting against. Yeah. Who?
Just answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't understand that logic.
This Johnson.
If the enemy is 100% white, we can't look at him as white.
Hold on, Beast. No. I just want to see what word he going to use.
If you like, paint them red. Look, I have a different approach. If you like, paint them red. I say, look.
Come on.
It's a strategy. As it's a strategy, he is in that market. He knows who are the barricade. So that is where he must penetrate. He is in the market.
Why can't I get an answer to this simple question?
He said pita bread. Did I heard that correctly? We're not going to get sponsored by pita bread. Dang it. Pita bread ain't going to sponsor us. Good grief. Not even a black-owned business that make pita bread is going to sponsor us, because Mr. O go sit there and say the enemy is pita bread. Damn. Dang. And see, I was just changing my appetite. I was saying, you know what? I'm not even going to get white bread no more. Maybe I'll get pita bread. Now I can't get that no more. Damn.
Thank you. You ever had tuna fish sandwich and the pita bread? Delicious. And you were with that.
Peter Brand, Claw Hammer. You know what? I
just hold on. I'm going to make one last attempt. Okay, everybody.
Okay, well, let's do it.
It's a direct question because I'm with you, Professor. All I'm saying,
We
look,
are with you.
all I'm asking
We are.
is to just what word or label to describe what are we fighting?
Yes. What we
And
fight
not Peter Brand.
depends on where, on the situation. Now we are talking about music. Now he is in that music. He knows those who are powerful in that music. He knows how they operate. That is where he has to penetrate.
Okay, but we were talking in reference to the game that you said that we
The top
have,
game.
that we have to play. So
Because
the game, overall.
Yes, the game, because capitalism is a game. It's a game.
So you
runs the
saying
game.
you are saying that our adversary is not global white supremacy, but the global effect of capitalism.
What? Yeah, of course. In that business, it's a capitalist business. It's business that moves billions of dollars.
No. Because every business is capitalist. It is a billion dollar industry.
Yeah,
No matter how weird it is, they're billion. But back to what he was saying, we're speaking globally. Because when you said the game, we talking about the game. It's like the biggest game in the world. Everybody in the world. What would that game be? If that game was somebody that we beefing with, that you said had problems, that stole money from you, and I'm like, I got your back, and you tell me they coming up to your spot, and I see 3 people walking up in front of me, which one is the game? Who do I need to swing on? Who am I fighting?
No, you don't
like,
know.
Who is that? What is that? Is it the global white supremacy or is it global capitalism?
No, you need a
We're speaking
strategy.
global, not just with music. We're talking everything.
No, look, it is diverse. It's diverse. It's in music, it's in art, it's in science, it's in chemistry, it's in everything.
What is the
but there's always one final boss.
Yeah, but
every game got one final boss. So who's the final boss?
Your own field is where I say fight it inside. Forget about the scientists. They have their own mafia. You fight in the music. That's why I say fight it inside.
All right. We're gonna have we're gonna have to continue. We're gonna continue this conversation. Friday.
That's what Wednesday gonna be about. No. Yeah, Friday. Friday gonna be about the game. What is the game and what are we fighting? That's the subject.
Okay.
So everybody watching, tune in, leave your comments and your suggestions.
Steve Way, you're coming on the show, okay? You believe
Yes, you are coming. You gotta be there. We doing this, we running this back. We running this back.
Yeah, because this is I'm just still calling on the Peter Brand.
We want to stop, but we can't. That's the thing. Like, we want to finish this, but it's like, I still got one more. I got the thing. It just bothers me. We gonna run this back Friday.
Yeah, we definitely are. So I'm gonna go ahead and lead with our final thoughts. But before I do that, let's do a shout out to our sponsor, RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. 12 different flavors. One of my favorite flavors is the birthday cake. I really want to try that chili cheese flavor, but go to their website. It's locally owned, black owned, RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. Once again, RealCheddarBoyPopcorn.com. And let me go ahead and start off with this final thought, because man, it's getting too wild. Too wild. I mean, it started off with the bang. We had great conversation, and then we just led to this. Oh my gosh! But yeah, let's go to a final thought, y'all. Wow. Before I start with my final thought, I did say for my opening statements about the interview with Dr. Stella Emanuel, it is KPRC NBC2 Click to Houston. If teachers watching, look that up. What you get is KPRC NBC2. Click to Houston. You will find that video that what I was talking about. So enough about her. I already said my piece about her. Shows like these I live for, where you getting the hidden knowledge and the hidden gems from four brothers. I want to say just us, but people that comes on this show, giving out gems to each and every one of y'all, how media is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be talking about how we feel about the left, how we feel about the right, how we feel about the black conscience, how we feel about... No, it's about us giving our views, leading to conversations, and getting to solutions. So even with Mr. O, what he said, hey, we got to go into it. Got it. Which he's correct about that. And Seepway, he's correct in saying, and which I agree with too as well, we got to know who the enemy is. We just can't go in there blind. But even with that, it's still leading in the right direction. And it's been a while since I said this, and Mr. O, he gonna like this. We all on the same sheet of music, but we playing different instruments. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all not going at each other's throats or anything like that. We probably get a little loud with each other, but guess what? We still on the same sheet of music. And for anybody that owns pita bread, enjoy your pita bread. It's not your enemy. It is a non-lethal food for your enjoyment. You can put ham and cheese on it, peanut butter and jelly, and you can enjoy life peacefully. So for any companies that makes pita bread, I promise, if you be a sponsor on this show, you will not regret it. And also all y'all pita bread enthusiasts out there, we're not anti-pita bread. And then also for my internet source who's trying to stop me from saying what I need to say, I'm going to say it anyway. With the pita bread on top. And that's my final thought.
I remember in the village with the jungle right behind. In the jungle, you have all kinds of animals. Farmers come home early. Although I've worked in the darkness inside the jungle, then you have some sheep, some powerful hunters. When they go in the night into the jungle, until they catch the animal they want, they don't come back home. They don't look, they walk into places where there's no road, nothing. So I asked my father, how is it that he has to go here and he must come with one animal? He said, oh, they have a knowledge to call their catch to come on their road. What I'm saying is this. When we go into the fight, let us attract our obstacles to the road and catch them. We don't care whether it's a lion, whether it's a tiger, whether it's a deer, whether it's a buffalo, but we want the animal. That's all. That's my closing statement.
Listen, my closing statement, first and foremost, I'm for my people, and I'm for respect and dignity. My fight, I am committed to defeating the global PETA supremacy system. Okay, I'm committed to that. You know, on a serious tip, right? See, our music started with the heartbeat. our drumming, our music. We go into the bush in our village. It was that drum, that heartbeat. It gives us life and connects all of us. When that drum plays and we form that circle and this vibe travels, in us and through us and around us, and we add on top of that heartbeat, that life force energy, right, a melody and a rhythm, and someone layers on top of that lyrics, we need to remember the spiritual power of that performance. And if we misuse it, we do it to our own detriment and death.
After this thrilling conversation that we've had today, I hope everyone takes from this that you should prepare yourself in every and all facets, mentally, spiritually, physically, existentially, psychologically, socially. The more knowledge that you attain, the more power is put in your possession, because you are not able to be deceived. You cannot allow the world to run over you, because you know the trappings and obstacles of the world, and you know how the world presents itself and what the world truly is. Ignorance is bliss only in regards to children, because they're learning. But if you're grown and you're still ignorant and thinking that ignorance is blissful when you're grown, you're stupid. There's nothing blissful about that. Prepare yourself. As Mr. O says, the game is on, and it's been on, and it's been running strong. So you better understand the rules real quick before your turn comes up and you end up whammy. So prepare yourself, educate yourself, stay vigilant, stay ready. And I'll leave that as my final thought.
Yes, and I will concur. Great discussion that we could continue on Friday. The cast will be back all here. Once again, shout out to Real Cheddar Boy Popcorn. Once again, realcheddarboypopcorn.com, realcheddarboypopcorn.com. I'm gonna have to ask, even though I already said it, but I always do. Is everybody gonna be able to come back on Friday?
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course. Of course.
There we go. Because I'm definitely gonna be back.
Okay.
Yeah, so other than that, time for us to go ahead and head on out. Once again, big shout out to our viewers. Also, Mr. McCary. We got to shout you out, Mr. McCary.
Yes,
I am going to put on the Facebook on our Facebook where we acknowledge those great fans, but I just don't want to just acknowledge you. We got to give you a gift for that, so I'm gonna work on that. And that's not only just McCary. If y'all want to be a loyal follower and the loyal watcher of the show, only thing you got to do is watch the show. Watch the show. Follow our Facebook. Yeah. Follow our Facebook page, the Elamonte Show. You can also follow us personally, because I already got a couple friends come in to actually watch the show. But yeah, tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your sister, tell your side pieces, tell them to tune into the show. We just don't just give our views, we give solutions. Even if we got different solutions, we still help each other. Iron sharpens iron. I heard that saying today. I decided I want to use this one because it's true. But in that, CP Way, I keep that's his name. I'm gonna get your name right. CP, Beast Johnson, Mr. O, and me as your host, Donnell Lamonte Morris. Thank y'all for tuning into another great show of hashtag Fade to Black. It's been real, gentlemen. I cannot wait till Friday. I wish Friday was here right now. But for us to get to Friday, this show got to end. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's been real. Catch y'all later. Bye.